Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers. Welcome to a new Doctor Who review for today. So this review, I'm going to be reviewing Doctor Who, The End of Times, both parts 1 and 2. Now, the first part was broadcast on the 25th of December 2009, and the second part was broadcast on the 1st of January 2010. And what's this amazing? Is it amazing? Not so much. It has changed, in my opinion. I never used to like this one as much, as most of you who've been watching my videos the last couple of years. You probably know the end. This story was probably one of the weak ones for David Tennant's era. I've always considered this to be the weakest modern day regeneration story. This is to me, out of all the regeneration stories we've got for modern Who, I really think this is the weakest. The strongest has definitely got to be Christopher Eccleston's, followed by Peter Capaldi's, and then followed by Matt Smith's, where this one is the weakest modern day regeneration story. It's not as great as you get some other great Doctor Who stories like the Caves of Androzani or Logopolis, Planet of the Spiders, the War Games. It's not the greatest out of all them, because in retrospect this is the worst regeneration story. Even the TV movie and Time of the Run is bad, but it's still that. So anyway, this Christmas special is The End of Time. So I own The End of Time here in the Winter Specials box set, which comes with The Waters of Mars with 3 discs. I own it in Doctor Who The Complete Specials with David Tennant, and then of course the Complete Specials on Blu-ray. So what can I tell you about this Christmas special? So we have the return of the Time Lords, we have the return of the Master in this 2-part story, we have the return of Donna, we have the return of Wilfred. So we got so many returns, including the Ood. Now I absolutely do like this. The beginning of it I thought was part 1 leads into it really great. Part 1 I really enjoyed, to be honest with you. Part 1 I just absolutely enjoyed, but part 2 it goes down a lot in my estimates of Doctor Who stories and episodes to actually sit here and say. But part 1, you have that kind of bit with that woman talking to Wilfred in the church saying perhaps he's coming back. Oh, that will make my Christmas. And then you kind of have the appearance of Johnson's Master just like leaning backwards and laughing like that. Again, this is a good Christmas special. I really enjoy part 1. I love the fact when we go to meet the Doctor. Yeah, I don't really like the way they've done this episode, to be honest with you. I think it's good, but not as great. Because after in The Waters of Mars, we just see the Doctor going all Time Lord victorious. And he has that kind of sulkish moment in the TARDIS. And he goes, no more. Like that, and he pulls the TARDIS lever and it goes off and says, the Doctor will return in the end of time. The Doctor literally just comes out of the TARDIS and he's joking with an Ood. And he goes, see, I parked it. Hang on, better lock the TARDIS. Oh, I've locked it as a car, car. Blimey, try and make an Ood laugh. And then, of course, you do have some references when he marries Queen Victoria, or Queen Bess, and he talks about that, which we do see in a couple of years later, in 2013, in the 50th anniversary. So that's the one thing I have to say about it. There again, though, I do kind of enjoy this one, because after you got the Doctor, with that very awkward scene, the Doctor, like, moping to Wilfred that he's going to die in the cafe, and he says, me too one day, don't you dare. Alright, I'll try not to. I can't help but laugh at that bit, because that bit does make me laugh. But when you see Tennant kind of going moping and stuff in that cafe scene, it's like, oh, more mopey Tennant stuff. Tennant is the most human Doctor. The amount of times you see him like being all moany and everything and mopey, especially after Rose and Martha and all that lot. So, but when you get into the main plot with him hunting down the Master, and then he ends up being electrocuted by the Master, then Josh Nesner's men ends up kidnapping the Master with the helicopter and taking him to the house, and the Master goes, I'm starving. I am so hungry. And you kind of have that essence with Johnson's Master, as you say. I do like the bit when you see him like in the kind of abandoned warehouse sort of thing, where you kind of have these people and he goes, oh, I'm starving. What? And then they literally go into this woman who goes, Ginger, help us. And then he's eating the bones of her and the chef. And the Master goes, dinner time! dinner time! And he ends up eating them, and then the Doctor goes hunts him. I love the fact when the Doctor has to go to Wilfred for help, saying, I've had him, I nearly had him, but I've lost him. And I love the fact when he's literally there talking to Wilfred, and he's there, even the Dr. Donna's still standing up right now. I do love that little callback to the Dr. Donna from the Journey's End. I love the fact that when the Doctor's there going to Wilfred, you're not coming with me, I can't leave you, you can't leave me with her, pointing to his daughter-in-law, and he's like, fair enough. And then she just goes, Doctor, bring back my father right now. I love that bit. And then he goes, I thought it'd be cleaner. I could take you back right home right now. I do love the way Bernard Crimmins plays Wilfred in this kind of fantastic story. It's great. He's the best thing about it. I really do enjoy him, Bernard Crimmins, as I do enjoy his character. And then, of course, when we end up getting into the mansion, and the Doctor pulls the TARDIS out a second out of sync, so he can hide it from the Master. And then, of course, the Master does end up getting into the gateway. But I love the aliens where the Doctor goes, oh, should you really, when you're just a shimmer? She goes, I'm sorry, what's a shrimmer? And he goes, shrimmer, like that. And then when you kind of have the other alien dude just come running in, he goes, shimmer, like that again. And the alien he goes, oh. I absolutely do love the way the 10th Doctor goes, shimmer, like that. I just really find that funny. And then, of course, when we get into part 2, after the Master's turned the humans into the Master race, because he's swapped the faces with the humans for him, so he's kind of got a whole planet of little clones of himself using the gateway. I love the fact when you see Rassilon talking, he goes, this was the day the Time Lords returned, and it just gets that kind of epic to be continued sort of thing. And then when you get into part 2 and you get into the first moments of the episodes and you see the Time Lords on Gallifrey and Rassilon saying, I will not die. Do you hear me? We have 15 billion years of Time Lord history riding on our backs. I love the fact that, and then of course he literally talks, when he finds that the final survivors of the final days are locked in an essence of time, and he goes, which would suggest the Doctor and the Master. Now, this gives a very cool back, because in the Day of the Doctor, the War Doctor takes the moment. So when you literally hear that first moment, he goes, what news of the Doctor? Disappeared, my lord, but he has took the moment. Which is an ancient Gallifreyan weapon that can destroy a whole planet in one. Which does happening, because the War Doctor does end up decimating Gallifrey. But it does take the Doctor 400 years after the War Doctor just to reset time and save Gallifrey and everything else. I do like the fact Rassilon is using the Master. He literally throws like a white point star to land on Earth, and it tracks down the Master and everything. So I really do enjoy that scene as well. But then, of course, the really bits I don't like is when you kind of have the Doctor going back after he absorbs radiation and everything else from saving Wilfred, and even the Master saves the Doctor at one point, because Rassilon, when the Doctor shoots the machine and he goes, back into the Time Lord, Rassilon, back into hell, and he goes, you die with me, Doctor. And then of course the Master just electrocutes him with the essence of power he's got since his body is dying and everything else. I really do enjoy the way that episode is spawned in for that reason. I absolutely do love that. I love the fact the Doctor absorbs the radiation to try and track that, to save Wilfred's life, after he does have that awful meltdown where he says, I could do so much more. So much more. Shut up, Tennant. That's my reaction to that bit. It's just like, oh, shut up. Because when it comes to Doctor's regeneration, none of them has attention to him as the 10th Doctor does, which is why the 10th Doctor is my least favourite Doctor, specifically for moments in this episode and Series 2, and, in Series 2 and Series 3. But then, of course, when he literally takes Wilfred back to his daughter, Sylvia, and his granddaughter, Doctor ends up going to save Martha and Mickey from Centaurans. He ends up seeing Captain Jack. He ends up going to the great-great-great-granddaughter of the woman from the Family of Blood, which people probably have forgotten about, and there's no point going back to her to find out if she had a good, happy end in the end. Yeah, she did, yeah. It's like, oh, like that moment. But then, of course, when you see him go back to Rose, and he goes, you know what, you're going to have a really great year. It's like, I don't care at this point anymore. He goes into the TARDIS to regenerate, and which is all fine. You do have him looking sad. I mean, some doctors do look sad when they regenerate, if you think about it. If you look at Patrick Troughton, because his doctor didn't really want to regenerate. His last words were no, no, no. But Tennant's last words, absolutely goddamn awful. I don't want to go. Oh, shut up. I really don't like that line. I don't want to go. It's like, I'm sorry. But Tennant, if you don't want to go, just get on with it. Just regenerate to the next Doctor. I've had enough of you. I've had you for nearly 5-6 years of Doctor Who history, of 2005 to 2010. Just get on with it. Just leave the role. Just go. It's at that point now. I'm just like, I'm not going to go back and rewatch part 2 anytime sooner. But apart from a few bits and pieces about it, in fairness, the End of Time parts 1 and 2 are pretty good. I like the Time Lord stuff. I like Rassilon. I like the fact he's trying to find a way to survive the Time World effects and everything. If I was going to rank the End of Time part 1, this will definitely be a 10 out of 10, even though it just has some moments I don't like in the cafe scene and stuff, but it still has some great moments in it. Part 2, I have to say, I did used to put this down as a 1 out of 10. I think I've done it recently as well. But it's not a 1 out of 10. I'm going to be nice to it, because even though part 2 does have the Doctor's temper tantrum and him like, I don't want to go, apart from stuff like that, I have to say, it's like a 7 out of 10. It's still pretty much enjoyable. My opinion on it has changed a bit. Still don't like the regeneration line. I don't want to go, but I do like the regeneration effect, which has given it a higher ranking. I like some other stuff as well, with the Time Lords and stuff, and the Master using the humans to become the Master Race by using the Gateway. I really do enjoy that. So let me know in the comments what you think of Doctor Who, The End of Time. Is it your favourite Christmas special? What do you think of the Tennant's finale as the amazing 10th Doctor? Actually, what I'd say is amazing, but for me, he's not amazing. I mean, I've had people talk to me over the last few days saying, oh, Tennant's the best Doctor, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Tennant isn't the best Doctor. In my opinion, he is the worst Doctor. But if you include Joe Martin and Richard Hendor and David Bradley, he's second to worst, because that last spot is taken by Paul McGann. But Paul McGann I like a lot more than Tennant if you weren't going to add those other... if you weren't going to add all those other actors in. But for me, in my opinion and my retrospect, the Tennant era... it's got some good moments in it. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. I don't hate it. But he is my least favourite Doctor. It doesn't mean I hate it. It doesn't mean I hate him as the Doctor. I just hate some stuff from his era, like the whole relationship stuff between him and Rose, the rebound sort of thing with Martha. Series 4 is my favourite series with Catherine Tate, because there's no icky relationship stuff going on there. And then, of course, when you get to the specials, I actually kind of enjoyed the Next Doctor a lot more. I enjoy Planet of the Dead a little bit more. I've rewatched that one recently as well. I like Waters of Mars is my favourite special. It's my favourite special out of the Tennant era. But with The End of Time, yes, I consider it to be the worst regeneration story because of some retrospect. But if I was going to compare this to other great stories, say the Time of the Doctor, Twice Upon a Time, The Parting of the Ways, those three are always going to be the top lot of the modern regeneration stories. And then if you add Classic Who on top of it, my top 3 favourite regeneration stories is, as you can probably guess, it is The Caves of Androzani, Logopolis, and Planet of the Spiders. They are my all-time 3 favourite regeneration stories, followed by the War Games. So if I was going to say, out of all the regeneration stories, The End of Time is probably the worst. At the moment, it's the worst until we get to Jodie's regeneration story. I'm going to do a whole video, I think, of ranking the regeneration stories of the Doctor, going from the 10th Planet down to Twice Upon a Time at some point next year. I am planning that. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of The End of Time. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe and share, and join me for more Doctor Who content videos another day. Well, tomorrow.